In this lesson, we are going to take a look at the edit view. The edit view, now while available, will probably be one of the less frequent views that you will be using within Concordance. The edit view basically does exactly what it says, which is to allow you to edit data within the fields that you have access to. Your rights can be restricted to which fields you can edit, and we will talk about security in a later lesson, but basically if you're given rights to it, you can change the data within a specific field. For instance, I can go in and change the date field here to a different number, or I can change the name of the author to something else. Once typed, the edit information automatically becomes a part of the database. Now, a few years back, when most legal evidence was still scanned from hard copy paper, the coded field information were captured by OCR or manually inputted by human coders. In both cases, depending on the quality of the OCR software or by the human coders, the data was obviously prone to some errors. And because of that, the edit view was used much more often to correct a coding error or maybe to add to the field of information. Perhaps a date information was captured incorrectly, or perhaps an author's name was misspelled. Regardless, when paper was the majority of evidence formats, the edit view saw a lot more use. Nowadays, since most evidence gathered are electronic format, there isn't much of a need to change any of these fields information. The date, author, recipient, and body of the captured documents are not called into question. And as a matter of fact, the ability to edit these coded fields are generally locked down or taken away because we don't want the reviewers to accidentally modify any of these fields. After all, most of these fields, if not all of them for all intent and purposes, are really the metadata fields of the documents we want to look at. But paper documents have not completely disappeared yet, and fields can still be used as empty box for notes to be entered by the reviewer or attorneys. So the edit view, although seldom used, still has a purpose. Now, while the edit view's display area does not have many options, we can still take a look at what is available. The edit view provides the list of field names on the left-hand side of the screen and a box for inputting data immediately to the right. The boxes can be expanded vertically only by moving your mouse to the bottom edge of the box and then dragging it to the height that you want. Note that you can also drag the top edge, but it results in the same expansion, which is downward. And the width of the box cannot be changed. It will automatically fit to the width of Concordance itself. Now, some other functions are available via a right-click menu, but most of these simply pertain to the format of the text of the box. For instance, I can highlight a couple of words here, right-click and change its case, either all uppercase, lowercase, or initial caps. Text boxes can take in manual input, such as simply typing directly into the box, or it can require users to pick and choose from a predetermined list of terms. That's where the list options come in. We'll take a look at using lists at a later lesson. The run attachment options are used for bringing up files attached to the database, and that will be something we'll look at in the lesson of tagging and hyperlinks. The view image option is again not available in this view, but usable within the browse view. The other difference between this view and the browse or table view can be seen in the navigation icons at the bottom of the screen. Notice that in addition to some of the browse view icons that you've already seen, there are a couple additional ones in the edit view. Let's start by taking a look at this new button here, the Field List button, which is next to this Go To button that we've already seen previously. The Field List button performs a function similar to that of a Go To button. While the Go To button will allow you to jump to the document by its number, the Field List button allows you to jump to a specific field that you want to edit. Now, while in a database of only a dozen or so fields like we have here, we can simply click on the field that we want. That might not be the case for a database with hundreds of fields. It would actually be quicker in that instance to click on this Fields button and simply choose the field that we want to edit. So for instance, if I click on the Field List button here, I'm presented with a list of existing fields. All I have to do to jump to the field of my choice is to double click on it. So if I want to edit date field, I can simply double click on it and my cursor is automatically placed into the date field. I can also have the same thing by first selecting the field and then clicking OK, though I personally find a double click is much faster. Next to the Field List button is the Ditto button. The Ditto button is a copy function which allows the copying of field information from one record to the next. By clicking on this Ditto button, I bring up a dialog box. The box shows the list of fields stored in the database, basically the fields that I can copy from. And there are three options for copying. Let's look at the first one. I'll first choose the fields that I want here by using the Control key or the Shift key while clicking, and then I select the Append New option. Before I click OK, I want you to note that I'm currently on document number 25. Now I'll go ahead and click the button. What this did was basically create a new record in the database, carrying over the information from document number 25. Notice now that I'm editing document number 26. The information from document 25 was carried over and appended to this new record. Now the new record won't properly display until I move away from the edit view and back. But after I do move away, say into the browse view and back into the edit view, notice now that document number 26 has been added and the previous bracketed 0 notation that we saw is gone. Let's assume now that looking at this newly added 26, I want to be able to bring over some more fields. For that scenario, I can click on the Ditto button, choose the fields that I want, and this time I'll select the option to copy from previous. This means that the field information I've selected here will be carried over from record number 25 and placed into record number 26. Or if I know that I actually want the field information of a different record, not 25, I can select the option to copy from another and type in the record number, maybe the information from record 1 or 10, etc. So as you can see, the Ditto button is a way to simply carry over previous field information into a new or existing record. Another new icon not seen in the browser table view is the delete icon, which is this big red X here. By clicking on this icon, this marks a document for deletion. The record is not yet deleted, simply marked for it. You'll notice now that the document text on the bottom right hand side that we mentioned in earlier lessons now display the DEL notation. And clicking on this icon again will remove the DEL notation. We've looked at the DEL markings before, and I just want to take this time to mention that items marked for deletion remain in the database until the database is packed. The option to pack the database is often found under the File menu here and Pack. Selecting this function will remove all documents from the database that has been marked as DEL. And keep in mind that once you do this, it cannot be undone, so you'll likely see this option protected if you are not the administrator of the database. Another thing I want to mention about the delete function, besides using a big red X on the edit view, the option to mark documents for deletion can also be found here under Edit, then Delete and Unedit. The difference between doing it via this menu rather than the red X icon is that the menu option allows you to select a range of documents to be deleted. So you can basically mark documents 1 to 20 for deletion, and then it can also be mass marked as undelete. Okay, back to the last icon on the menu. This icon is the undo icon. Beginning with Concordance version 8, the undo function now has a few more options, including the ability to reset to blank, delete, and abandon. The reset document option will undo your editing changes. The blank document will wipe out all the field information. So if I choose the blank document option and click OK, notice now all my fields are empty and I can put in any new text that I want. And if I want to bring the information back, I can choose the reset document option. The delete document option does the same thing as the red X, which basically deletes the document. Abandon really just simply quits out of the edit screen. Keep in mind that if you leave the edit screen or navigate away from it, your changes to any data can no longer be undone, so you want to be careful about that. And there we have in a nutshell the edit screen. Now, along with the browse and table view, it's probably the views that you will spend most of your time in Concordance with. On the next lessons, we'll look at the searching and issue tagging capabilities with Concordance, as well as how the software works in conjunction with the image viewer Opticon.